My country is at war. This week's weekly message is me unplugged, unsettled, unbelievable what's happening in my country and what has been happening in the last few days. And yet, I feel that it's very important to give a message about, as a food addict, as a sugar addict, in recovery, how I deal with huge crisis that happens in my life. And hopefully this can also help you. So if I would say to you that I never stress eat, that crises have not brought me to eating over my emotions, I would be a liar. It happens to me. Since I've been in recovery in the last 25 years, I do want to share my experience, what happens in these times for me. And maybe even if this helps just one person who's in crisis right now, whether it's here in Israel or somewhere else or for some other reason, this is for you too. So yes, right now I am in crisis. My 3 sons have been called up to Reserve Army. One of them is close to the action. My children are all around the country. They have had rockets falling near their homes. There's a huge uncertainty. We are a small country and we've had many, many casualties in this war so far, so that everybody knows somebody who's been hurt or there's somebody from their family member has been killed and whatever. And we're all just shell shocked and walking around like it's just awful. And then, being sort of with the news, and I just can't ignore the news. I can't. And anyway, it's a really, really, really super hard time. So what happens to my food recovery in a time like this? Well, during the actual height of the crisis, from my past experiences, and I can say what's happening now, is that food is not a huge issue during the actual, at the height of the crisis. Right now, it's very, very important for me to be clean, to be in recovery so that I can be present, so that I can be there for my family members, for my friends who need me, to be there so that, to be present and not have foggy brain and not have my judgment impaired by sugary, starchy, ultra-processed foods, because I know that that's what these foods do to me. They impair my judgment. They make me more nervous and more emotionally unbalanced. And that's not what I want to happen right now. Right now, I really need to be, I need to be at my peak. I need to be present at the moment and be there for my family, for my friends, for the people who need me. So for me now, it's really, really very, very important. And I can really see the importance of staying clean with my food, because that's what I need to be in order to function well at a time of crisis. With me, when the crap hits the fan, as they say, for me, it happens usually after the crisis is starting to get over, after we're at the height, and things are starting to recover. Things are starting to get back to some kind of normal, even if it's a new normal. And that's when I find that cravings hit me. It's all of a sudden, okay, I'm not needed anymore, so badly. I don't need to be on my game, at the height of and whatever it is. And I can sort of relax a little. And that's when my defenses go down. And I feel like disappearing into the food and some Netflix series or whatever it is. And if you think that I've never succumbed to that, I would be a liar. It's happened to me before in crises that, the cravings were bad and I did go back to the food. But in the last few years, especially now that I understand that vicious cycle of eating junk and then craving it and then eating it again and craving even more and eating more and craving more, I can say that what's happened to me in the past, at least, was that I went into harm reduction mode rather than full-blown relapse. So it means maybe I did have overeating episodes, but it's always on real food. I don't go back to that junk food. I won't go back to my hard drugs, chocolate, junk, chips, things like that. I will not eat them because I don't know where it's going to end. And why would I, then it's like going back into that vicious cycle and having to invest so much in order to get back into recovery, whether it's like professional help and time and effort and what have you. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to those depths. So even if it does happen, if I emotionally eat, then, when it's happened in the past. So here's what I've done. First of all, is be soft on myself, because nothing's broken. Nothing's ended. Nothing, I'm not a bad girl or a good girl. It can happen sometimes that we have a certain path that we've decided on our, in our lives, and we've strayed from the path a little. And then I do whatever I can to get back on path. The first thing though, for me, it's like, this is such a hard no, is I will never go, do not go back to the junk. I do not go back to using sugary, starchy, ultra processed foods, because I don't know if I'll be able to get back from there. So if I do have an overeating episode, it's on real food. And because it's always much easier to get back from a slip on real food than it is on junk food. So there is a certain amount of harm reduction that can be done, and to be soft on myself. I know that I can, if I forgive myself, if I'm soft on myself, the way back is much, much, much easier. And in order to prevent that from happening, what I do know is that I need support. Usually, I can't do this alone. I don't know about you, but when I'm in tough times and I see that it's affecting my food, I can't do this alone. I speak to people who are on a similar path, who I know that I can get strength from, who I know that they can help motivate me, whether it be phone calls, professional help, listening to podcasts, reading books that I know motivate me and inspire me. Going to a 12-step meeting for me is also can be a huge source of support for me. And I've made sure over the years to build that support system, to have those friends, those meetings, the literature, the podcasts that I know that I can listen to that can help me and motivate me and keep me on track as much as possible. So I'm honest with myself also about that. I always know, I say this to my clients and I say this to myself too. I know that when I start thinking, do I need to speak to somebody? Do I need to go to a meeting? Do I need to set up maybe a counseling session with blah, blah, blah? When I say to myself, when I'm asking myself, do I need to? That's when I need to do it. Because when I'm sure I need to, it's usually like too late already. Things have gone like totally out of control. So just when that question starts coming up, that's the time. That's the time to start the action. That's what I know for me. So if you're in crisis now because of the situation here in Israel, if you're listening to this from Israel, or if you're in crisis because of something else, or if you want to learn from this, because we all go through crises at some point, I hope that this has helped you. And if anybody does want to reach out for professional counseling at this time, I am free and you can reach out to me. My contact details will be in a link below. I am here for you. And for anyone, thank you all. Anyone who's reached out to me during this time for support, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me. And as not fine as I am, I'm okay. And hopefully we should hear good times, good news there. May there be peace and quiet and happy times ahead. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.